This morning on Daybreak.
Disaster, speechless.
Seeing it in person is nothing like seeing it in pictures or on the news.
A home in Plano leveled by an explosion. What could have caused it and what's next for investigators?
New guidance on masks in schools has parents sharing their COVID concerns. WFAA goes one-on-one with the governor about his plans for the school year.
Every Texan understands what COVID can do.
The wait is almost over. Today, the Cowboys inch closer to the 2021 season with the start of training camp, and with Dak healthy and the offensive line back together again, will they live up to expectations?
There's always a lot of talk, but it matters the work we put in here at training camp.
Meet the Williams, who put their everyday lives on social media for the whole world to see.
What y'all see is what y'all get.
Live from Victory Park, you're up with Daybreak.
6:01 this morning. Thank you for waking up with us. I'm Marcus Took.
And I'm Kara Sewell. On this Wednesday, July 21st, did you watch the game last night? NBA Finals, Game 6, right here on WFAA.
Yeah, sorry to spoil it if you didn't see the game, but you're going to find out somehow that the Milwaukee Bucks made some history as they beat the Phoenix Suns, their first championship in 50 years. And boy, let's show us the scene in Milwaukee after that game. Bucks Arena holds about 17,000 people, but really outside, that's where the real party was. It's the Deer District, which is outside that arena. 65,000 people estimated to be celebrating their team's victory. By the way, not long ago, that franchise was debating whether to build a new arena to try to keep the Bucks in Milwaukee. Now, it's a city of champions with a bright future, and they've got a parade coming up as well.
Although it wouldn't be a party without a few shirtless men, maybe a trash can burning or something somewhere. So that sums it up when it comes to celebrations of big games.
Was it Philadelphia, I think, that they had to put Vaseline on the poles to keep people from climbing up?
Yes, it was, and I think it worked.
This is just gross, Greg.
Yeah, that is kind of gross. And
I mean, celebrate, but you don't need to climb a pole.
Yeah, and you don't need to burn couches. You know, usually you see a couple of those out in the middle of the street.
Now, that's typically for college games.
Okay, oh, that's college. Okay.
Keep
that's
it
Ohio State, whatever they want.
All right, but happy for the folks in Milwaukee for sure. All right, for us here in North Texas, hasn't been too bad temperature-wise, but that's all about to end with the heat, the typical summer heat returning to North Texas. Today, though, it's not going to be bad at all. Sun just coming up across North Texas. Nice looking morning out there. We'll have mostly clear to partly cloudy skies. 75 degrees as we look from Fair Park right now, but we have some upper 60s. Getting on out to Denton at 68 here this morning, 70 in Plano. Coming over to Fort Worth, you're at 71 here this morning, and those upper 60s heading on out to Anna and Salina as well. So it's pretty comfortable this morning. Now, we do have an ozone action day in effect. The air quality levels could become unhealthy later today, so keep that in mind. Otherwise, we're looking at some slight chances for some showers and thunderstorms. Coverage about 20% today. So as we head toward midday on into the afternoon, can't rule out an isolated thunderstorm or two. Temperatures only in the lower 90s again this afternoon before that heat does begin to return as we head into the weekend. So we'll talk more about that for you coming up. But now let's get over to Deshara, checking on traffic.
All right, Greg, thank you. Good morning. You guys want to start off really with our surrounding counties. Just to let you know, most of you aren't going to have any issues getting into Tarrant or Dallas County. However, once you get into Dallas County, that's where the problem starts. So Rockwall on I-30 getting into Dallas again. You guys see it's pretty much all green there as you get into the city. Same thing, Benbrook, trying to get into Fort Worth. No major problems for you guys out there. However, we do have some issues working. Thornton Freeway 35 northbound right at 8th Street. You are going to notice they have an accident out there. Traffic is certainly starting to back up well past Illinois at this point, so it's about a 10-minute delay. Certainly give yourself some extra time as you get ready to head out. Other than that, 635 westbound right at Mumford. I've been showing you this incident pretty much for the last 30 minutes or so. It is still working. 3 lanes blocked out there on 635. I-30 westbound, as you go underneath the bridge there, you're going to notice an incident over on the right-hand side. It's just a stalled vehicle. The wrecker is on the scene, so hopefully that one will be cleared out here soon. We do have a couple of more issues that I'll tell you guys about in my next hit. That's it for traffic.
Every cut she had on her and every piece that went into her, it was one less piece in her child because she was shielding him at the time of the explosion.
You just heard from May Reedy, a family friend of the people injured when a house exploded in Plano, a blast that sent 6 people to the hospital, including a family of 5.
And this morning we are hearing from investigators who say they know what caused the explosion. Chris Sadeghi live this morning with where they stand in that investigation.
Well, Carol, we kind of suspected it from the beginning, and now Plano Fire Rescue has come out and said they do believe a gas leak is responsible for that explosion. The next step, they want to pinpoint where that leak is coming from, something that could be difficult to do now that the home is destroyed. But here is how they will go about it. They will dig a hole in the ground and check the pipe on both sides of the home's meter. Any leak on the street side of the meter is the city's responsibility. Anything on the home side of the meter would be the responsibility of the homeowner. Another possible source of gas leaks can be home appliances. That's something that they will also examine. We spoke with a pipeline safety expert, and as we've heard with past gas explosions in our area, he said the Texas soil can play a big part in causing pipes to shift, cause them to crack, because the soil here can contract so much in the dry summer and then expand with any kind of rainstorm or shower. Wet weather can also have a sealing effect where it might force any leak coming from the ground to be sealed off and pushed into the home, but homes themselves aren't perfectly sealed, and that's why the expert we spoke to thinks where the leak was happening, it had to be a significant amount.
You normally in a house, they're not sealed perfectly. There's windows, there's doors, there's air moving across it, even when the doors and windows are closed. There's air conditioning, there's circulation and things like that. It takes one heck of a lot of gas. This house had to be almost full of natural gas to explode it like this.
And we did get the update on the 6 people who were injured, the 3 adults still receiving hospitalization for their injuries. The 3 children involved, though, we've heard were able to get away with just minor cuts. Mark Kara, back to you.
Again, thankful that those injuries weren't worse, Chris. It is now 6:06, time for your morning rush. Dallas police have made 2 more arrests in connection with the July 4th shooting at Hamilton Park. 5 people were shot that day, 3 died. The 2 newly arrested people are teenagers, a 17 and 19-year-old, both charged with capital murder. Earlier this month, police arrested another 19-year-old who is facing the same charges. A Parker County Sheriff's investigator says he was simply in the right place at the right time when he helped rescue 7 young kids from a smoking SUV this week. That vehicle had crashed into a ditch off Highway 51. He was driving by. 2 of the kids were taken to the hospital. 1 adult did suffer a severe head injury. No details yet on what caused that crash.
Let me finish.
That's Dr. Anthony Fauci and Senator Rand Paul going at it again over the origins of the COVID-19 virus. The infectious disease expert confronted the Kentucky Republican senator in testimony on Capitol Hill yesterday. Paul suggesting that Fauci had lied before Congress back in May about funding research at the Wuhan lab in China. Fauci saying, "I've never lied, certainly not before Congress. Case closed." And that's your morning rush.
COVID cases are on the rise in Texas, with our positivity rate spiking to 11%. Compare that to this time last month when it was around 2.8%. And we are less than 4 weeks away from the start of the new school year. Ariel Placencia with us this morning in the newsroom. And Ariel, parents and health experts say they've got some concerns heading into the school year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Kara. And certainly one of the cause for those concerns is the Delta variant. New numbers from the CDC are showing that the Delta variant makes up 83% of the cases, and that's up 50% from the beginning of the month. And as we talk about this Delta variant increasing and seeing more cases, kids are getting ready to head back to school. Now, earlier this week, the AAP suggested basically a universal masking, that all students should wear masks in school, and that's the American Academy of Pediatrics. The CDC says that all students who are not fully vaccinated, they should wear masks in school. Remember, the governor says ban school districts from requiring students and staff and teachers from wearing masks. And we asked him about this yesterday during a live interview during our 5 o'clock show.
The standard in the state of Texas will be that there will be no mask mandate. Every Texan understands what COVID can do. Every Texan has the individual responsibility to make the decision about whether or not they will get the COVID shot.
Now let's talk hospitalizations in our area. They have tripled this month. And to give you an idea where things stand, so about a month ago on June 20th, we had 287 people in the hospital with COVID-19. As of yesterday, a month later, we're at 911. And I can only imagine they will be talking about this at the UT Southwestern 1 p.m. presser later on today. Infectious disease experts are going to get together, talk about those COVID-19 models as well as vaccination efforts. And we'll keep you posted on once information is released. Barb and Kara.
Okay, good time to download our app if you want to make sure that you're on top of that. Speaking of app, where you can find your forecast, why not get it from the man himself? And it feels pretty good outside.
Yes, not feeling too bad at all today. Really not going to be a bad day, but we are talking about that heat down the road, so we'll get to that here coming up. But if you're going to try to get out, now's the time to do it today. Those temperatures have dipped down into the upper 60s and low 70s. Sun coming up now. We'll have some partly cloudy to mostly clear skies. Looking at Clyde Warren Park right now at 74. So yeah, all green for the dog walk forecast here for you between 7 and 9 o'clock here this morning. And that will be the case for most of the day today. Now we'll see those temperatures only in the lower 90s this afternoon, so still a few degrees below average. And we can't rule out that isolated shower or thunderstorm, especially east and south of Dallas and Fort Worth as we head into this afternoon. So as we take a look at those rain chances, they're not great, but that's similar to what we've seen over the past few days. I think the farther north and west we go, those rain chances start to drop off, but we'll put them at about 20 to maybe 30% in our far southeastern counties, getting on down into central Texas as we go through the afternoon. Rain chances, though, start to dry up as we wrap up the week, and those temperatures will begin to climb. So we'll have more on that for you coming up here in a few minutes. Now let's get back over to Deshara, checking on traffic.
All right, Greg, thank you. You guys, what a difference a few minutes makes, okay? Let's just center our attention around Dallas County, okay? We got many problems working out there. So if you're in southern Dallas County, you're having to come up 35, you got 3 issues that you have to get past before you can get into downtown Dallas. So let's tell you about some other ones working. Pleasant Grove, folks, maybe Balch Springs trying to get in on 175 on the eastbound side is actually where we have that problem, but it is something you are going to run into headed outward, okay? 175 eastbound. Elsie Fay Hagen Street right at Central Expressway. Again, if you're trying to go 45 northbound to get into Dallas, that's another one that you are going to run into. I typically don't even ever really focus on the roads out there. However, interstates, yes, but not directly on the roads. Cyene Road is where we have an issue right at Prairie Creek. You are going to notice that one again if you're coming in from Mesquite and you typically take Cyene to get into town. So just be mindful of that one. 635 westbound right at Mumford. That issue still working, 3 lanes blocked, that left lane getting by. At this point, it's about a 10-minute delay until you get past that accident. Back over to you guys.
Thank you for that, Tashara. 612 this morning. Still to come on Daybreak, a tweet calling out Republicans and Governor Abbott is making the rounds, accusing them of trying to erase history. We're going to dig into Senate Bill 3 coming up about 6:35.
The Olympics could include cheerleading. Do you support the idea? Grab your phones, weigh in. It's our live poll right now. The majority of folks are saying no, but you can let us know. Use the hashtag #IamUp. Good morning, Frisco and all of North Texas. What is your excuse for not working out? A new survey says the #1 reason is actually being too tired.
So we're asking you this morning, what is your excuse, the one you go to? A lot of you, I know you are very diligent about working out, but every once in a while you say you're too cold, too hot, too busy, you just ate, you're hungover. I know who you are. Eric Catfish Walker says, I do enough at work.
Ah, that's a good excuse.
That one can hold water.
Maybe took a lot of steps.
Use the hashtag #IamUp.
Tomorrow I'll wake up, do some
Time for this morning's Speed Feed, starting with the historic space flight from the desert of West Texas. In case you missed it, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos blasted off to the final frontier. It took 3 minutes for the Blue Origin rocket to reach 66 miles above the Earth and escape gravity. Bezos and the other passengers were able to float weightlessly for a few minutes. There you see him there on your screen before returning to Texas. One of those passengers was 82-year-old Wally Funk from Grapevine.
It was great. I loved it. I can hardly wait to go again.
Y'all better get Wally back up there. Wally is the oldest person ever to go to space. For the win, the Milwaukee Bucks are NBA champions for the first time in 50 years. They beat the Suns in Game 6 of the NBA Finals last night. Their superstar, Giannis, was named Finals MVP, capping the series with a mind-blowing 50 points last night. And it's not just the Bucks who won last night. Hello, all of America, you're getting a free taco because the Bucks won the game after losing at halftime. Taco Bell is giving everyone a free flaming hot Doritos Locos taco tomorrow. And FYI, even though the opening ceremony is 2 days away, the Olympics have already started. Overnight, we had our first competition. The host nation, Japan, beat Australia in softball. The U.S. team also played its first game overnight. They also won because that's what we do. And speaking of the Olympics, we could see a new sport in the next few years. The International Olympic Committee has officially recognized cheerleading, paving the way for groups to petition to have cheerleading included in the Olympics. So we want to know, Should cheerleading be an Olympic sport? You see our poll down there. I see what y'all talking about, but y'all keep weighing in. WFAA.com/vote now. Greg always clearing his throat. It ain't even your time yet. Just hold on.
I'm just getting ready. I never know what you're going to throw at me. But no, this should have been something that we all talked about because it did spark a little debate in the commercial break whether this should be a sport or not. I'm on the team that it should be a sport because it's not what it used to be. You know,
they are really out there cutting up. What is that group in Texas that they did the Netflix thing on? Anybody know the group? Oh my God! Somebody, if you're on Twitter, you're watching Navarro Cheer. Do you remember that?
I was thinking of the cheerleading moms. Though that's a whole nother thing. That's pretty intense. But no, they are athletes. These men and women who do that, they are real athletes. So I would be on board with it becoming an Olympic sport.
I can't believe 79% say no. Y'all got to go vote again, okay? Go vote again. Let us know. I'm not swaying y'all.
If skateboarding can be a sport, so can cheerleading in the Olympics. All right, let's talk weather here this morning. If you're going to be out anything outdoors over the next few days, we're going to start to turn up the heat a little bit, so we will have to deal with that. The typical, usual July heat is finally going to make it into North Texas after almost a whole month we have been below normal. Fort Worth right now, 71 degrees as we're looking at mostly clear skies for you as we head on out the door here early on. We've seen some upper 60s here this morning with those temperatures. Now, as we look at our timecast going through the day, we still have that outside chance for a shower or thunderstorm, only about a 20% coverage around most of the Metroplex. A little farther south and east, we may see a little bit better chance for those showers and storms, and that might get repeated again tomorrow on into Friday. We'll hold on to some very low wind rain chances, but really the story over the next few days will be those temperatures that do start to climb. So we'll see that disturbance drifting onto the south and west. High pressure begins to build in. Another day, though, around the region with temperatures below normal, upper 80s to low 90s, just about anywhere you go today. But here comes high pressure as it begins to build in. It takes hold through the weekend, and that will continue into next week. So that means hot, dry weather coming our way. So enjoy the cool temps today, maybe, and tomorrow before that true Texas summer does return to North Texas. Check out the temperatures as we get into the weekend, as we'll be in the upper 90s. If we don't hit triple digits Saturday or Sunday, I think we will get there as we get into next week. We'll have rain chances, slim to none. We'll go with in the triple digit temperatures Monday, Tuesday, maybe just about every day as we get into next week. So get ready for it. All right, let's get back over to Deshara now, checking on traffic.
All right, Greg, thank you. Most of our problems are in Dallas County this morning. You're coming in from Parker County, Rockwall, not going to see any issues. Even from Kaufman County, no problems getting into Dallas here this morning, okay? But take a wide look at our maps. You guys see most of those issues concentrated right in the Dallas area. So I want to start off with some of the problems that I've been noticing. Here we go. Grapevine Mills, okay? This is one. By the way, I had somebody reach out to me from the Grapevine area. They say I never covered Grapevine. Look, y'all will be having a whole lot of problems out there, but you got one this morning. Grapevine Mills Parkway. You got an accident right at FM 2499. It's just north of DFW Airport, not causing major delays out there. But since I don't cover you guys as much, I want to make sure I tell you when you got some problems working. 175 Elsie Fahagan Street. You got an accident just before you hit 45 northbound. Also Hahn Freeway eastbound right at Pemberton Hill. That problem not causing any major delays, so still green in that area, but certainly don't let it slow you down here this morning. I told you about this one for my friends in Mesquite. If you use Sayin Road, you got a problem right at Prairie Creek. Still green in that area for now, but you guys know as more and more folks get on the roadways, that is certainly gonna change. This one is still working. My goodness, it's been working for about 45 minutes. 635 on the westbound side right at Mumford. This is in northern Dallas County. It's not causing major delays, so that's at least some good news for you guys. About 10 minutes as you move through that area. Other than that, if you're coming into town from Ellis County, you got the green light this morning. 45 northbound, Ferris to Dallas, going to take you about 19 minutes. That's it from me. Back over to you guys.
Thanks to Shara. So for one local family, everything they do ends up on social media, and they are cashing in. We're going to introduce you to the Williams.
And as the world gets more and more digital, so does the NBA. Why Mark Cuban is really leaning into NFTs. We'll explain. First, though, here's what Good Morning America is working on.
In this morning's GMA First Look, help wanted. More than a year after the pandemic forced a record number of Americans out of work, now a record number of job openings, with companies going to extremes to try and fill vacancies.
Everybody needs to have a lot of patience. We'll see that this summer. You'll see very sort of uneven service levels because organizations are struggling to get the people they need.
Some even dubbing this summer the Great Resignation. Millions of employees so confident in this jobs market, they're quitting. According to the website ZipRecruiter, nearly 20% of the jobs posted on the site last month offered a signing bonus, up from just 2% in March. And coming up at 7 a.m., we'll have the expert tips to help you navigate this red-hot jobs market and score the salary you want. With your GMA First Look, I'm Rebecca Jarvis, ABC News, New York.
This morning in our I Am Up With series, we are shining a light on influencer families.
So we're talking mom, dad, kids, and pets, all creating content to make all of us laugh or maybe learn a few things. Cleo Green introduces us to the Williams family.
This is me, I'm so royal, and you all wanna be around.
The Williams family is what you'd call an influencer family. They share their everyday lives on social media to more than 1 million followers.
We definitely focus on positivity and putting our truth out there. So what y'all see is what y'all get.
I got no excuses. That's Daryl, aka Bully Juice. He's an Air Force veteran inspiring his followers to find their grit. And Brittany, at Lavishly Brit, is all about beauty, health, and parenting 101 to their 2 little girls, Noelle and Sage.
It's fun to help each other with our own kind of content and then come together as one.
And their home base is right here in North Texas.
We're actually not from Texas at all.
Where are you from?
I'm from North Carolina originally, and he's from Miami originally, but we moved here during the pandemic from Florida.
Now they're attracting the names of big companies and they're cashing in too. But it's not easy. Those stories, posts, and video clips that we all enjoy and like, they take a lot of preparation, filming, and editing work.
Oh yeah, just simply yesterday we drove around making a video to transition from spot to spot, and Noelle was my sidekick in that video.
Say hi.
For the Williams family, at the end of the day, it's all about family. But they're just so excited that you're willing to watch them grow.
I got house in the carriage, yeah. I got black love and marriage, yeah.
So if you want to follow the Williams family, you can find Brittany at Lavishly Brit on Instagram and her husband Daryl at Bully Juice. Oh, and a big announcement for all you social media influencers out there. Mark Zuckerberg just announced that he's going to be shelling out about $1 billion for content creators through 2022. Soon in your Instagram accounts, well, you're going to see something called Reels Summer. So this means that you can create reels, real content, and earn up to $500 per post. So there is definitely money to need.
And there should be, because it's a lot of work.
I was going to say, the effort to make that one TikTok that we just looked at.
I'm tired just watching. Good for them, though.
Yeah, right. I know. Hey, do you know what pickleball is? Talk about tiring. It's a Wellness Wednesday workout. We're going to bring you the benefits of one of the fastest growing sports in America. This morning on Daybreak, with Texas Democrats in D.C., there has been a lot of talk about election laws in the Lone Star State, but there is a lot more at stake than that. Governor Abbott talks with WFAA about the special session showdown.
The Cowboys start their training camp today in Oxnard. What to watch for as the 2021 season gets closer.
And it won't feel too bad at all for late July here across North Texas, but we are turning up the heat as we get into the weekend. We'll tell you all about it coming up. You're up with Daybreak.
Good morning, and thanks for waking up with us. I'm Kara Sewell.
And I'm Mark Istook, as we are listening to a little Jimmy Buffett, because that's our excuse for not working out this morning. I mean, it's also that we're working, but a new survey shows all the top excuses people use for not exercising. Can you guess what's number one?
You might use it a lot. The number one reason, just too tired. Other reasons include it's raining, it's too cold, I'm too hungover, too boring. So we want to hear from you. What's your excuse? Use the hashtag #IamUp. Maybe don't use it this morning.
Yeah, Tashara told us earlier that when she's hungover, she will work out, which I think is crazy, because that's a great excuse, Tashara. How about this tweet from Kyra? Pure laziness. You know what? Call a spade a spade. It's what it is. And I don't mind saying it when it happens. Although I'll throw that excuse out, Greg. Oh, it's so hot outside. I can't go running in 90-degree heat.
Well, you can stay indoors.
Yeah, on a treadmill.
On a treadmill, the stationary bike.
You're killing
like
my
that.
excuses, man.
You know, you have ways to do that. I should be talking though. I'm always looking. I'm always too tired to work out. But if you are going to be out and about, not feeling too bad at all. If you want to get out and get some exercise in here this morning, really not too humid. Temperatures pretty comfortable out there. Look at those upper 60s. Yeah, in Denton at the UNT campus there. A little hazy out there, you see, but the sun coming up. Those winds are just about calm across the area too here this morning as you're looking at those light northeast winds. So that's going to keep it pretty comfortable for late July across North Texas. Now we do have an ozone action day in effect. Air quality could become unhealthy today, so we'll keep that in mind if you're sensitive to the ozone levels as we get into this afternoon and evening. But in the meantime, those temperatures getting out to McKinney, you're at 70 degrees, 71 in Greenville along with Fort Worth, and 72 getting out to Waxahachie. So here's that day planner. Can't rule out that isolated shower or thunderstorm again today. Covers though only about 20% as we head into this afternoon. Still those below normal temperatures for a couple of more days as we'll top out somewhere around 91, maybe 92 later on today. But yes, that heat is back. It returns for the weekend. We'll talk more about it coming up. But now let's get over to Tashara, checking on traffic.
All right, Greg, thank you. 35E, we got a problem right at Keast, causing about a 5 to 10 minute delay. You guys see it's yellow in that area. So again, folks are just tapping the brakes just a bit. Not terrible. Some good news for you as well. That problem that we had on 635 on the westbound side of LBJ right at Mumford, that one has cleared out. Traffic is back moving just fine. If you're up in Denton County this morning, taking a look at your drive times here this morning, 23 minutes to get you from the 35 split to North Loop Bay 20, 35 East South, trying to get into Dallas this morning up from Denton County from the split to 635. Going to take you 12 minutes. I'll check on Collin County and some construction that was lingering in Tarrant County in my next hit. Back over to you guys.
All right, thank you, Tashara. As we are now 2 weeks into the special legislative session in Austin, as lawmakers are working on what the governor calls unfinished business. At stake, a whole bunch of topics like voting laws, border security, and also what's taught in schools regarding race. I want to check back in with Ariel Placencia, who's in our newsroom this morning, with a look at a viral tweet that has got some folks raising their eyebrows. Ariel?
Yeah, Mark, and maybe you've seen it on your Twitter feeds this morning already. This is the former San Antonio mayor, and he writes, Greg Abbott trying to erase MLK Jr., Cesar Chavez, and Susan B. Anthony from the Texas curriculum and recast the KKK as the good guys. So what is going on here? Well, this all has to do with a debate about what your kids should and should not have to learn at school. So on Friday, the Texas Senate approved a bill that would shrink the list of topics teachers must address with public school students. Lessons on the KKK, the civil rights movement, and women's suffrage, those are among the teachings that would no longer be mandatory. Now, something to keep in mind, those lessons only recently became mandatory. That was as of May. Now, that law does not take effect until September 1st, but during this special session, lawmakers want to rewrite the legislation and pare down the list of mandatory lessons before school starts. However, this bill can't move with the Democrats still in Washington, D.C. The governor touched on the Dems fleeing during a live interview with us yesterday, the special session showdown. And my colleague Cynthia also pressing him about the foster care crisis and when he's going to do something about it.
The Democrats better come back to Texas, get back to work, and do their job that your kids in Dallas need to have done, and the foster care system will improve once they return to work.
Now, we also talked to the governor about voting rights as well as masks in school. And if you want to catch that whole interview, we've got it over on our website, WFAA.com. Kara.
Thank you, Ariel. 6:36. Time now for your morning rush. Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson is calling for the next city budget to include funds to hire 275 police officers. He also wants first responders to be paid salaries comparable to the market, and he wants more 911 call takers. Johnson says he shared his budget priorities with the city manager. He's expected to propose his budget in August. A new way to gauge the impact of COVID-19, the CDC reports nearly 120,000 children here in the country have lost a primary caregiver to the virus since the start of the pandemic. Even more than that, many lost a grandparent or a relative that lived with them. Minorities suffer the greatest losses. The numbers are provisional. They'll be officially released next month. And Harvey Weinstein now in California, where he's accused of more crimes against women. The disgraced movie mogul was extradited from prison in New York, where he's sentenced to 23 years for criminal sexual assault and rape. Now in LA, Weinstein faces several counts of rape and other charges, including involving 5 alleged victims. So we'll see how that plays out there. And that's your rush.
Okay, we are counting down in Texas. Pretty much always you are counting down to the next football season. The wait almost over because football season's coming up. The start of training camp for the Dallas Cowboys kicks off this week.
Ooh, you ready? Okay, stop me if you've heard this before. Fans have high expectations for this season. They're way up here.
Always.
Chris Sadeghi live this morning at the Star in Frisco with a look ahead at a busy training camp schedule, and that always happens too.
Yes, Carol, we get the State of the Union every year from the president, but we get the state of the team every year from Jerry Jones when the Cowboys arrive in training camp, and we should get that address later today because they are in California, and one of the big questions that this team is facing, the health of Dak Prescott. Of course, he had that awful ankle injury that cost him most of last season, but Jones and the Cowboys already have shown their confidence in him to bounce back with that big contract extension they signed him to back in March. So training camp will give him a chance to get back in the groove, get back on the field, and if he's the quarterback we remember, the offense shouldn't be the issue for the Cowboys. There's plenty of talent there. Now let's talk about that defensive side of the ball. Not so talented there. Dallas was terrible on defense last year, and that forced head coach Mike McCarthy to make a change at defensive coordinator after just one season. So he brought in Dan Quinn, the former Atlanta Falcons head coach, to revamp this defense. Quinn, he does have skins on the wall. He coached those great Seattle Seahawks defenses in 2013 and 2014 that made it to the Super Bowl. They could also get a big boost from their rookie, Micah Parsons. We will keep an eye on him. He is the Cowboys' first-round draft pick at linebacker, so he could be a difference maker. That State of the Team address does happen at 10 o'clock this morning. Then tomorrow, Cowboys will have their first practice leading up to that first preseason game, which is August 5th against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That will be the Hall of Fame game. The Cowboys have a couple of people going into the Hall of Fame this year as well. So excitement always at a peak in the preseason, guys. Back to you.
Oh, and somehow we always get lured in.
Yeah, I can't help but laugh, this time of year because this is where we are all the time. And we end up getting let down so often.
Look, we could go 8-0 to start the season, and I'm still going to say, you know what? Call me in January. Let me know once the playoffs have started.
And that's me. When we get there, that's when I'll believe it. But until then, now they have, done some things to address some of the issues that they had over the past couple of years. So there's reason to be optimistic, but I kind of damper that a little bit,
you know what? It's going to be training camp. We're going to hear stories about third-string cornerbacks for the next couple months.
Oh, yeah.
Anything they can sell us to make us excited about the Cowboys, Tashara.
Can I get you excited about traffic real quick, Mark?
Yes.
Okay, wow. That took too long to respond. Across the Metroplex, most of you aren't dealing with any issues, so let me get you excited about something else going on this morning, okay? This incident that we had on 635 westbound right at Mumford. In case you missed my last report, that incident has cleared out in northern Dallas County, so traffic is back moving in that area. We do have some new problems, though, over in Tarrant County, 35W northbound, right at the North Loop. Of course, things are certainly slowing you down quite a bit, almost into downtown Fort Worth, so please give yourself some extra time if that's part of your morning commute. 114 eastbound right at Texan Trail. You got one lane blocked out there, so that's causing about a 5-minute delay. Across the Metroplex, again, not terrible for many of you, especially if you're coming down from Denton and Collin County to get into Dallas, but Dallas County is where we're seeing the majority of our issues. Now, I got a special traffic report here this morning. This young lady, she has to drive, I'm just kidding, she has to be driven to school every morning, so I got a little something for her. Her name is Miss Samantha. Her mom said she had a request for me. Can we roll that?
Hi, Mr. Shower. Can you tell me the traffic from Cedar Hill to Mansfield?
Okay, Samantha, we got your travel forecast this morning down in Cedar Hill. If you're trying to get over to Mansfield, Beltline to Business 287, it's going to take you about 20 to 25 minutes. Now, Miss Samantha, don't press the pedal too hard. Not anything out there to slow you guys down. Back over to you.
Is that all I have to do? Okay. The NBA is really leaning into NFTs. What are they? That's what we're asking. And why are people spending millions of dollars on them? We're going to go right on the money, Mark.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it, Sonia.
Hey, good morning, you guys. I am live at Lifetime in Plano, and today for Wellness Wednesday, we're going to talk about pickleball, what it is, and why so many of you out there are going to want to try this. That's coming up. All right, good morning, you guys. And it's time for your health check and happy Wellness Wednesday. I am live at Lifetime in Plano to talk about one of the fastest growing sports in the country, and that is pickleball. So joining me this morning is Vicki Eisman. She is the coordinator for pickleball here at Lifetime, which sounds like it's a big deal. I mean, if you've got to have a whole coordinator for pickleball, this is serious. What is pickleball?
Well, pickleball is kind of a hybrid. It's sort of like tennis and it's sort of like ping pong. It's played on a badminton court. I liken it to ping pong a lot because there's a lot of touch, but it's social. Ping pong, you know, when you play with your family, everyone's real social. It's a very social game.
And okay, this is low impact. We've talked about how it's easy on the joints, so it's attracting all ages, and millennials are especially interested in it. We shared that the average age of people who are playing this is 43. So that's good news to me. I like that.
Yeah, that's great news. We're seeing big junior divisions and a lot of kids playing in schools, middle schools. And so it's great that Lifetime is bringing this in. We have a large amount of juniors here at Plano. I think it's going to explode with the kids as well.
And what are some of the other health benefits to pickleball?
Well, it's good cardio, believe it or not. You can play as fast and hard as you want, or you can play, you know, an easier game. So it's great for that. It's on 1/4 the size of a tennis court, which makes it really easy to get around, and you play with 2 on each side. So there's 2 of you to cover one side.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking agility, you know, as I'm watching these guys behind us move back and forth.
Oh yeah, they're amazing. When you get to the higher levels, it's an incredibly athletic sport. You should see the pros play. They're amazing.
And the fact, you know, circling back to what I said earlier, you have to have a pickleball coordinator. This is gaining a lot of popularity, and you guys have a specific program that you're really amping up.
We are, and when Lifetime does something, they do it first class. So we're amping it up. There are other clubs that have it out on their outdoor tennis courts. Some of them, most of them are in the gyms, which is nice because when it's raining, it's great. But Lifetime does everything great, so that's what makes it nice.
Okay, Vicki, thank you so much. Thanks for inviting us here today. And hey, we're going to talk a little more on I Am Still Up on the Daybreak Facebook page, and maybe I'll even try this out. Greg, I wish you were here.
Hey, and we had pickleball here out on the plaza a couple of years ago, I guess we did. So I've tried it, and it's actually a lot of fun. Olympic sport, pickleball, coming. No, okay. No support here in the studio for that. All right, 74 degrees, partly cloudy skies, a little hazy as we look from our Fort Worth tower cam. 71 degrees, those temperatures have dipped into the upper 60s, low 70s here this morning. So a nice, pleasant morning out there. As we head into the afternoon, we are going to see those low-end rain chances lingering across North Texas. So an isolated shower thunderstorm can't be ruled out late this afternoon and evening. And then still maybe some slight chances tomorrow, getting on into Friday as well. But that's really going to be about it as far as rain chances are concerned. Today, we'll go with about a 20, maybe 30% coverage in our far southeastern counties later today at best. And I think that really starts to taper off as we head up toward the Metroplex and areas a little farther north and west. One more day with those below normal temperatures, as we'll only be in the low 90s this afternoon. But then high pressure is going to begin to build, and we will see a return finally getting into the typical July summertime weather pattern across North Texas as that high builds through the weekend, especially getting on into next week. So yes, it will definitely feel like summer with that weather pattern setting up that way as we head into the next few days. Look at those temperatures as we get into the weekend. We'll climb into the upper 90s, close to triple digits as we get into Sunday. And if we don't get there over the weekend, we will see those triple digit temperatures probably through most of next week with partly to mostly sunny skies, and the heat will be on. All right, let's get one more check on traffic now. Here's to Charlotte.
All right, Greg, thank you. Sorry, back here moving some things around with my maps here. We got some new issues that popped up out there. Again, across the Metroplex, I said most of you didn't. Collin County, you're not going to have any problems getting down into Dallas, Fort Worth this morning. However, over in Tarrant County, 35W northbound, right as you approach the loop here, you're going to have some issues out there. Traffic even almost backed up into downtown Fort Worth. So this one is about a 15 to 20 minute delay. Again, make sure you give yourself some extra time, what we always say. 30 eastbound at Ackert Street, you're going to notice some problems trying to get out of downtown Dallas right at Ackert. Then you're going to run into a problem about a mile down the road. So give yourself an extra 10 or 15 minutes if you have to travel through downtown Dallas. Loop 12, 35E, this problem is still lingering out there. It's been there for the last 20, 30 minutes or so. If you're coming into downtown Dallas, that's one that you will run into. 30 westbound at Haskell, you got a problem a little farther up, that you can't see here on this particular camera, but it is starting to cause folks to tap the brakes a little bit as you get into downtown Dallas. So again, Again, if you're coming in from Rockwall County, you're not going to have any major issues getting into Dallas, but once you are here, that is something that you are going to run into, that problem right at Haskell Street. I've been telling you guys, most of our issues this morning have been concentrated in Dallas County. So once you get into Dallas, that's where the issues will start. Really no major issues on the outlying counties. Back over to you guys.
Okay, thank you, Deshara. Have you heard of these things called NFTs? Non-fungible tokens. They are all the rage right now. The NBA definitely going all in on them. Jason Wheeler explains just what they are in today's Right on the Money.
While watching the NBA Finals, did you also think, wow, that was a great play? I bet it would be a good investment to own video of it. Seriously, it's not just a game anymore for collectors of non-fungible tokens, or NFTs. They're like digital trading cards or art or music that other people can see or hear too, but you own the original, which can't be duplicated because it's encrypted with blockchain. That's the same complex computer puzzles that keep cryptocurrency like Bitcoin safe from being stolen. So really, it's like anyone want to look at my phone and scroll through my art collection? The NBA has gotten into this in a big way, too. Reportedly, in less than 1 year, the company that produces NFTs for the NBA has amassed more than 1 million users who have spent $700 million to own these digital basketball moments. That's because of some crazy expensive ones, but many of the trades are reportedly for NFTs under $50. Again, it's an investment that can go up or down in value if you try to resell it. This photo and literature NFT was recently offered for about $13,000, and this GIF for about $64. It's all in the eye of the beholder. I found those, by the way, through Mark Cuban's site called lazy.com. Yes, the Mavs owner has opened an NFT art gallery where he invites you to show them, sell them, or buy them. So how do you make them? I want to know, because I'm really going to try this. I have linked to info on that with today's post at Jason Wheeler TV. And you know what? Maybe that post is going to be my NFT, and it'll make a killing and really get me right on the money.
I hear hope in his voice.
Just Google NFT scam.
He's like, oh, I'm so hopeful. Yeah. Cracking down on drugs, Governor Abbott is taking pen to paper with a new law targeting fentanyl. Governor Abbott hopes to crack down on fentanyl. Today, he'll sign a law that enhances criminal penalties for manufacturing and distributing the drug. For as little as 4 grams, the minimum sentence will be 10 years.
In traffic, most of our issues are concentrated in Dallas County, 30 eastbound, right at 2nd Avenue. Of course, you got a problem on the right-hand side. Traffic still getting by. One option for you, you can take Haskell Avenue, then hop back on 30 once you get past the issue. Greg?
All right, no weather issues out there. It's actually comfortable this morning. Some upper 60s and low 70s. We'll see that the ozone action day, it's in effect today, so the air quality could become unhealthy, but otherwise, look for those highs today, topping out in the low 90s. Slight rain and thunderstorm chances.
Doesn't look bad. Hey, let's get to our poll question from today. Should cheerleading be in the Olympics? The IOC just officially recognized it, which is kind of the first step to becoming an Olympic sport in the future. Looking at our numbers right now, boy, it really has gone up quite a bit in the past hour or so. 35% of you say yes. The rest of you are right, saying no.
What?
How many people say no?
Not. A lot.
Mark?
It's about 2 to 1.
Okay.
Anyways, somebody tweeted at me earlier saying, y'all need to show the video of people actually out there doing the sport. We're going to do better. She said, don't use them stock photos anymore. She's a cheerleader, by the way. She says, show us out there really doing some work.
Much respect for all that it takes to be a cheerleader.
Appreciate y'all.
Have a great Wednesday, everybody.
GMA is next.
This morning on Daybreak, college sports shakeup. Texas and Oklahoma reportedly ready to break away from the Big 12.
The Red River rivalry might be on the move, but if not the Big 12, then where?
New information on a house that exploded in Plano, sending 6 people to the hospital.
Investigators now say this might have been intentional.
Can I get a hallelujah?
Going back to church. This morning, you look at how different congregations in North Texas are navigating the pandemic.
I'm excited about those who have been away. I'm excited for them to come back.
The club is open, the restaurants are open, my church ain't open. Come on, Pastor. And so the pressure is real.
Live from Victory Park, you are up with the Daybreak.
Thank you for waking up with us today. I'm Marcus Took.
Good morning, I'm Carousel. Thursday on this Friday Eve, as we call it oftentimes. If you're a Big 12 sports fan, you've got something to talk about today.
Yeah, multiple sources have told us that Oklahoma and Texas are talking about breaking away from the Big 12 and teaming up with the SEC. Bad words for a lot of people. School officials have not confirmed that news, but sources have told us that this is imminent and say both schools will notify the conference early next week.
So they wouldn't actually leave the conference for another 4 years. Chris Sadeghi will join us in about 2 minutes to explain why and what this means for you. This morning, though, we've been asking, would you back OU and UT leaving the Big 12? You can weigh in on our app right now, or you can go to WFA.com/vote now. The majority of people saying no, but only by about 10% there.
And certainly this is something that can affect people that went to any college, even if you didn't go to OU or Texas. And I said earlier, Greg, that I think most of the folks saying yes are going to be Texas and OU fans, although you are a fan of UT and you'd like to see him stay right here.
Yeah, I don't like it because it's all about, money. It has nothing to do with anything else, no matter what you say. So I don't want to see that, but we'll see. We'll talk more about that coming up. But yeah, speaking of numbers, we are going to be looking at those. The temperatures climbing across North Texas over the next few days as we are looking at some triple-digit heat. Haven't seen it yet, but it is on the way, it looks like. Now, we'll have another day with those temperatures pretty comfortable stepping out the door. Not feeling bad at all. 77 in Fair Park here this morning. Clear skies, nice-looking sunrise here early this morning. But once we get outside the big cities, we still have some upper 60s in Denton at 69, heading out to Chico at 67, along with Bridgeport here this morning, and those upper 60s in DeSoto and Lancaster as well. So not a bad morning at all. It hasn't gotten too humid yet, but I think that will begin to climb. The humidity will over the next few days. Air quality alert. It is another ozone action day, so keep that in mind too. Later this afternoon, we'll have highs in the lower 90s. An isolated shower or thunderstorm can't be ruled out today. Coverage only about 20% once again, and that heat index is going to make it feel like it's in the upper 90s here this afternoon. So we do heat up a bit more as we've been talking about heading into the weekend. We'll talk more about that coming up, but now let's get over to Tasha, checking on traffic.
All right, Greg, thank you. You guys, good morning to you. Happy Thursday. Parker County, if you're trying to get into Fort Worth, no problems for you on I-20 moving through Benbrook either. Same thing, Rockwall, if you're trying to get into Dallas, I-30 looking good here for you this morning. I got an icon to show you that we typically don't see on our maps. 35E northbound. There's some debris on the road right at Wycliffe Avenue. You guys see it's still green in that area, so it is not causing major delays. Just make sure you're careful as you're passing through that area. Again, on the northbound side of 35 right at Wycliffe. Dallas Parkway on the service road. Fire department still out there just past Addison, so be mindful of that one. Nothing really causing major delays. This is something we typically see almost every morning. 45 northbound right at Pennsylvania Avenue. Folks tapping the brakes as they get into downtown Dallas. It's been fairly quiet out there on the roadways. Hopefully we can keep it that way. Back over to you guys.
Good to hear. Thanks, Tashara. So we've been asking you, would you back Oklahoma and Texas leaving the Big 12?
Yeah, both schools reportedly set to tell the conference this upcoming week they are breaking away. Want to go live to notable UT alum Chris Sadeghi. Chris, look, we know this is not a big deal just for those two schools. This has implications across the state and basically across the college football and college sports landscape.
Yeah, it could completely reshape that landscape you're talking about, Mark. The Big 12 Conference Championship game is played here every December at AT&T Stadium. But after that bombshell report yesterday, the future of the Big 12 Conference now really up in the air. It was first reported by the Houston Chronicle that both Texas and Oklahoma had reached out to the Southeastern Conference about the possibility of joining their league. But then late last night, WFAA confirmed with multiple sources that the break from the Big 12 could be imminent. They confirmed that both Red River rivals would jointly file a letter to the Big 12 next week, informing the conference that they will not renew their media rights when they expire at the end of 2025, at which point they will move on to a new conference. Most of the signs point towards joining the SEC, but that is hardly automatic. The 14 SEC schools would have to vote to accept Texas and OU by a 3/4 vote. And while they no longer play on the football field, that could eventually reunite Texas and Texas A&M. That rivalry could be a factor in all of this because the Aggies athletic director, Ross Bjork, was quick to respond to the report yesterday by saying they want to remain the only Texas school in the SEC. It's also possible we could see the state legislatures in Texas and Oklahoma get involved because the schools that these teams would be leaving behind, Oklahoma State and Oklahoma, Texas Tech, TCU, Baylor here in Texas. Those are big-time universities. They have power brokers of their own, and they're probably not going to sit back and just watch these teams leave to be left high and dry. Mark?
Yeah, like I said before, Chris, though, it feels like this is one of those deals where it could be the first domino to fall that could change the rest of them across the college football landscape.
And I think that was inevitable, and I think this is Texas and OU trying to be ahead of the curve when maybe you look back when realignment happened, when Texas A&M left the conference 8-9 years ago. Perhaps they got caught behind the curve there. So I think this is just them seeing that things are inevitable in college sports. We've already seen so many changes with the NIL and the increased playoff system. College football is not going to look the same in 5-6 years as it looks right now.
Chris, any truth to the rumor that Texas is considering leaving the Big 12 because they've gone 2-7 against TCU since the Frogs joined the conference?
Oh, I knew this was coming. I prepared for it. I knew you were going to sneak something in there, and I now regret. You know what? I'm taking this purple tie off.
You're a good sport, Chris. I appreciate it.
Keep the gloves on, guys. And your tie. Time now for your morning rush. So Dallas police are searching for the person that hit an officer during a traffic stop. Thankfully, the officer is okay. Officials say the incident happened Tuesday near the Dallas North Tollway and Cedar Springs Road in Dallas. We're told when the officer approached the driver of that car, the driver took off and hit the officer, another cruiser. Anyone with information is asked to call DPD. A Collin County man accused of killing his mother and teenage sister has been indicted by a grand jury. 21-year-old Burak Hazar now faces capital murder charges. Investigators say he stabbed his family members to death inside their Allen home back in April. Two of the more than 50 Texas Democrats who fled the D.C. have now come back to Austin to work on voting reform. Representative Philip Cortez of San Antonio says he stood with his Democratic colleagues in Washington, but he also stands by his convictions about open access to voting for all Texans. Representative Harold Dutton of Houston came back because his sister was sick and then he couldn't return. Both say they'll start meetings today about that voting bill. Senate Republicans blocked an effort to move forward on a $1.2 trillion infrastructure package. GOP leaders said they want to see a finished product before moving forward. The negotiating group of senators say they're close to an agreement and could happen as soon as this weekend. We'll see. And that's your morning rush.
We saw COVID cases declining for several months as more and more Americans were vaccinated, but those cases rising again. Public health officials, some of them, say they are increasingly concerned about the Delta variant. As we want to say good morning to our health and wellness reporter, Sonia Azad, who's got some new data to share. Sonia?
Yeah, Mark, good morning. The latest from UT Southwestern shows a rise in both the number of new cases and this is the important part here, the number of COVID patients in the hospital right now. So UT Southwestern says its doctors and nurses are treating more than 800 COVID patients right now, and that number is expected to double by August 1st. In fact, there are as many people hospitalized with COVID right now as in early March. And if you remember, that's when vaccines were only available to select groups of people. So a lot of this, of course, is because, as you've heard, the more contagious Delta variant is circulating, right? And doctors are making it a point to identify how different it is when it comes to symptoms.
Like a common cold, so maybe harder to distinguish. With the other variants, the other strains, you could lose your taste or smell. That's not happening with the Delta variant.
So studies show most people getting infected now do have that Delta strain, which is why doctors are urging everyone to get vaccinated. Vaccines do protect against Delta. Now you might say, well, wait, Sonia, what about breakthrough cases where these fully vaccinated people are also getting COVID? Okay, we're going to talk more about that on Facebook Live starting at 6:30 this morning. I'll be with Dr. Mark Casanova. So he's going to be answering your questions about that. Plus, we're going to talk about the latest research, vaccines, masks, variants. We got it all for you. That's coming up at 6:30. Just head to our Daybreak Facebook page. All right, let's send things back over to
Yep, we are talking weather.
And the heat.
And
Triple digit.
It is going to be hot. So as I like to say, get set to sweat over the next few days, especially as we get into the weekend. We are looking at those upper 90s. And yeah, the triple digit heat, it's not too far off across North Texas. We've held it off about as long as we can across North Texas. 73 degrees, nice looking sunrise though, as we take you on out to Clyde Warren Park, and really not too humid out there either. As we look at those dew point temperatures, we're still looking at some upper 60s there heading out to Denton. in McKinney right now, 66 over in Fort Worth, and those lower 60s, in fact, heading on out to Decatur. Now, the lower 70 dew points a little farther south and east, so that's where it's going to be a little bit stickier as we look at the muggy meter. So it's getting sticky to very sticky out there, and I think that may even get into the uncomfortable range for us as we head into the upcoming weekend. Now, those highs later on today, lower 90s we're looking at with the forecast highs, so still maybe just a few degrees below normal for another day, but we'll start to heat up a little bit more tomorrow and this afternoon. Once we factor in that humidity, it's going to feel like it's in the upper 90s. So yeah, we will be talking about that heat index probably next week, probably up over 100. Now, as far as any rain chances are concerned today, coverage is going to be limited once again. A little bit better chance a little farther south and west. We'll go with about a 20% coverage up toward I-20 into the Metroplex, and about a 30% chance a little farther south and west later on today. So that's about all the rain we will see. We'll hold on to some very slight rain chances tomorrow as well, and then that heat is with us for the weekend. So more on that in a few minutes. But now, Kara, over to you.
All right, thank you, Greg. So this morning, a twist in a home explosion. Investigators now say it may have happened intentionally, but they aren't saying much more.
And coming up in Speed Feed, we're meeting the couple that put their vows to the test when one of them became sick. As we say good morning to Richardson and all of North Texas on this Throwback Thursday. Today's soundtrack brought to you courtesy of our very own Ariel Placencia.
Yeah, so Ariel went with Chicken Fried by the Zac Brown Band. It's a song her husband used to get her to fall in love with him. I'm telling you, yeah, that's what she said.
It works.
He used it with country music, by the way. Not just him, country music.
So we're asking you this morning, what is your favorite throwback song? Maybe you've got a playlist you like to rock on Throwback Thursday. Let us know. Use the hashtag #IamUp. Feels like some boot scooting in here.
I know.
This I've come to know. So if you agree, have a drink with me, raise your glasses for toast to a little bit of chicken fried.
6:15, time for this morning's Speed Feed and this first video. Well, it may seem like Mission Impossible to some of us, but for a cat, it's a walk in the park. SMH, whoever called this an escape-proof cage, okay? An animal control center near San Antonio shared this video on their Facebook page. You can see the resourceful cat using her paw to move the door latch before she makes her grand escape. Mark,
I'm blown away.
I think
like
cats are really smart. What you saying?
It's like a little cat burglar.
Right. Yeah, they might need to get a better latch for that cat. Hey, OMG, someone in Irving is $3 million richer. The Texas Lottery says somebody hit it big from a scratch ticket like this one. Apparently, the winner wants to remain anonymous. I don't blame you, but we know the winning ticket was sold at Nursery Food Mart near East Shady Grove Road. I know a lot of people that live close to that area. I'm just kidding. I do got a couple of friends in Irving, though. If y'all want, share a little bit with your girl, please. Hey, this next story, it will give you a reason to smile. You know, a lot of couples, they promise to love each other in sickness and in health, but Brandy and LeVar Allen's love story put those vows to the test. Brandy went into kidney failure last year. After weeks of looking for a transplant, she found the perfect match, and it was her husband who had been secretly testing to see if he could donate his kidney.
He was like, boom, congratulations, I'm your donor. So I was ready then.
When God brings someone to you and they're perfect for you, he ain't just gonna take one away from you.
As the Allens recover in Dallas, they're planning their next steps, including a trip to France for their kidney transplant anniversary.
Wow.
That is love, Greg. Don't you love that story?
Oh, great story. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And a great place to go for their anniversary as well.
That's your spot.
Yeah, glad for them. Glad it all worked out there. All right, weather-wise here across North Texas, we are waking up to clear skies. Not a bad morning out there at all as we take you on out to Denton right now. You can see 69 degrees, so it's still feeling pretty comfortable there with the clear skies. We'll have those upper 60s, generally in the low mid 70s around here for you this morning, but it's cooled off in spots and a few low clouds trying to creep up I-35 down toward Waco and Hillsboro here this morning. But otherwise, we'll have plenty of sunshine, giving way to some partly sunny skies maybe this afternoon, and can't rule out that isolated shower or thunderstorm. But coverage going to be limited. That disturbance that's been responsible for the isolated showers and storms the past few days, drifting a little farther to the south and west. You see down along the middle upper Texas coast, maybe a few showers and storms here this morning. But otherwise for us, those highs today with the south and southeast winds will start to climb into the lower 90s, still maybe just a few degrees below normal today before that heat begins to build as we get into the upcoming weekend. So we are looking at some upper 90s to around 100. Looks like we'll finally get into the triple digits as we wrap up the weekend perhaps, and certainly as we get on into next week. In fact, as we look at that temperature trend, we'll be in the mid 90s maybe tomorrow, and then by the weekend we'll be up around 97 to 98 Saturday, 99 maybe hitting 100 there on Sunday, and then we are looking at 101 or so as we get into the first part of next week, and that might be the first day with a string of triple-digit days we're probably looking at as we head on into next week. You see Monday, Tuesday, right on into the middle of the week, and really not much is going to change throughout the week heading on into next Thursday and Friday. So that summer, July heat heading into August is finally with us. All right, let's get over to Deshara checking on traffic.
All right, Greg, thank you. Things were quiet long enough. I guess that's what we were saying. Okay, we've got quite a few issues that have popped up on our maps after really a quiet morning out there across the Metroplex. We only had one main issue early on. That was in Arlington 20 eastbound at Collins, and it cleared quickly. We do have some more problems working now, though. Tarrant County on a northbound side of 35 just before you hit 170. That incident has traffic backed up about 2 miles or so, so certainly give yourself an extra 10 minutes if that's part of your morning commute. Other than that, Dallas, you have quite a few problems working as well. Not far from our studio, 35E northbound right at Victory Avenue. Traffic backed up into downtown Dallas into the Mixmaster. So again, just give yourself an extra few minutes just to make sure you can get where you're going on time. This problem just past Addison, Dallas Parkway on a service road right at Trinity Mills. Fire department has been out there for quite some time. Again, across the Metroplex, several issues still working. 30 westbound right at Jim Miller. Send the HOV lane, so please avoid the HOV lane this morning if you're trying to travel westbound on 30 to get into Dallas, because that's certainly something that's going to slow you down. On the actual main roads there on the westbound side, at least one lane blocked at this point. Again, you guys, quite a few issues across the Metroplex. I'll tweet some of these out. If you follow me on Twitter, that's where you can find the latest information. Back over to you guys.
Some churches fully back from the pandemic, others not quite there yet. We're going to look at how some local congregations are tackling the issue.
And people have been splurging on their vacations this summer, but who is spending more, men or women? We'll have the breakdown coming up in Right on the Money. First, though, here's what Good Morning America is working on today.
In this morning's GMA First Look, deep sea debate. Should shark bites be called attacks or just encounters? As caught-on-camera incidents rise and beachgoers witness scenes like these of survivors getting rushed to the hospital, wildlife experts in Hawaii and Australia are rebranding interactions with the ocean's apex predator, calling them bites, negative encounters, or incidents instead of attacks, warning sensational language can be harmful to a species that's dwindling.
Anytime we're painting any wildlife as interested in harming humans, we're reducing people's desire to see them conserved and protected, and increasing the likelihood that people see them as villains or antagonists.
But some survivors are fighting back. It's all coming up at 7 a.m. We have the lessons shark bite victims say they've learned and their warnings. With your GMA First Look, I'm Will Reeve, ABC News, Seabright, New Jersey.
The Catholic Diocese of Dallas recently lifted its Mass dispensation, meaning it's time to go back to Mass in person. But other North Texas churches are holding off, and for now, still holding services online. In this morning's TGI Texas, we look at how different congregations are handling the issue.
Deliver us, Lord, we pray, from every evil. Graciously grant peace in our days.
I'm all gung-ho. Okay. I'm all in.
Amen. Let us pray.
Father Michael Forge at Prince of Peace Catholic Church can't wait for things to finally get back to normal next month.
August 15th is the Feast of the Assumption, and so it's a Marian feast. It's kind of it's kind of around the back to school time as well. So I think it's almost like we want to reboot the whole thing, right? And come back full force.
Right now, the Plano Church's attendance is down about 43% from pre-COVID days, and he's hoping more people will start returning to services.
I'm excited about those who have been away. I'm excited for them to come back. Even if they're nervous, you know, we'll care for them. But it's time. It's time.
And they set the stage. I have a few people now.
Meanwhile, in Dallas at Friendship West Baptist Church, Reverend Dr. Freddie Haynes is still not reopening his church.
Well, it's been very important for us to listen to what I call the Savior and science. And so we've been paying real close attention because for me, one of the job descriptions of a pastor, the metaphor, of course, is shepherd. And shepherds both feed the flock, but they also protect the flock.
But don't think for 1 minute that choosing to remain closed for now hasn't come without complaints from some church members.
I had some members on social media say, man, the club is open, the restaurant's open, my church ain't open. Come on, Pastor. And so the pressure is real.
Making Juneteenth a national holiday now.
But Haynes says he's making the right decision.
And if there's any humanity in you, any God in you, you don't want to be responsible for someone else getting sick. And so I just try to break it down to that, you know, when I'm calling the common denominator of humanity.
Pastor Haynes says he is hopeful that Friendship West can reopen sometime this fall, but they're keeping a close watch on the Delta variant and COVID numbers. He also opened up to me about something that a lot of us have been dealing with and have felt over the last year.
I mean, burnout is real. This has been the most draining season of my ministry. And right now I am physically, emotionally, and spiritually on empty. And so in our last staff meeting, we said that we're targeting, you know, this time before the summer ends, where we're just going to shut everything down and give everyone time to decompress. And then knowing that when we get back, we're going to be moving full speed ahead towards reopening if the signs are right.
Yeah, it has been a stressful time, and even Father Michael, he talked about just the stress of navigating through this season, you know, the past year and a half or so.
Well, we're told to everything there is a season. Hopefully that season will soon be changing, but we've been back at church in person, and I think there's this sense that we learned hopefully over the past year, just the importance of community, which is what church is, and you want to be together in person, but you also, like you said, you don't want to risk people's health, and that's been so stressful for those ministers who have had to try to deal with that.
And you don't really think about that as much, but they've had to deal with a lot, and it is very, very stressful. And our church is one that is open back up, but we have been reluctant to return ourselves, so we're still streaming and still watching from home. So we're going to kind of take our time getting back into it as well.
When you walk through those doors, a joyful noise.
Yeah, it will be.
All right, Kara, back over to you.
Well, still ahead, the Cowboys are gearing up for another season, and Jerry Jones gets a little choked up. Yeah, really. That's next on Daybreak.
Well, a potential twist in a home explosion in Plano, as investigators now say it may have been intentional.
Plus, a whole slew of Olympic headlines just one day before the opening ceremony in Tokyo.
And as the Cowboys get ready for the first practice of training camp today, an update from Jerry Jones. You're up with Daybreak.
Good morning, 6:30 on the dot. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Kara Sewell.
And I'm Mark Yistuk as we get over to Greg Fields today to get ready for our Thursday forecast. Greg, we're still kicking those triple-digit temperatures down the road.
Yeah, we're holding them off for now, but that won't be much longer as we are talking about that heat really going to return to North Texas. Still a comfortable morning, though, as we get you on out to Cedar Hill. 70 degrees, a little hazy out there for you this morning, but those temperatures had dipped into the upper 60s, around 70 outside of the Metroplex. You see it's a little warmer in Dallas at 77, 72 in Fort Worth, but heading on out to Canton, you're at 70 degrees this morning along with Waxahachie, and 69 as we head on over to Mineral Wells. So a comfortable morning still, and as we go through the day, we're going to warm up, still mostly sunny as we head toward lunchtime. We'll be close to 90 by then and can't rule out that isolated thunderstorm or two. Only around 93 for that high. I say only because it is going to get hotter. Going to feel like it's in the upper 90s later today with about a 20% coverage with any showers and thunderstorms that we see later today. And I think the better chances will be probably south and west of the Metroplex. But we'll talk more in detail about that. And yes, that triple-digit heat that's coming our way as we get into the weekend perhaps. But more now, let's get over to Tashara. More on traffic.
All right, Greg, thank you. 35W northbound, right at 170. You guys, we have a problem out there that's been working for the last maybe 30 minutes or so. This is over in Tarrant County. It's causing traffic to back up about 2 miles or so. So please give yourself maybe an extra 10 minutes to go ahead and get around that problem. In Dallas, also on 35E though, northbound, right at Victory Avenue. I said early on, that's not too far from the studio here. It has traffic backed up into downtown. Westbound side of I-30, right in the HOV lane at Jim Miller Road. You are going to notice that incident is still out there working. It has at least one left lane blocked on the actual highway, so folks are tapping the brakes as they get around that incident. It's about a 15-minute delay, so if you're coming into town from Rockwall County, please give yourself an extra 20-25 minutes or so to go ahead and get out the door and make sure you can get into Dallas on time. Mark and Kara.
Well, new information about a house in Plano that exploded Monday and sent 6 people to the hospital. Investigators are now saying it may have been intentional. Ariel Placencia live this morning from Plano. So Ariel, this sounds a lot different than what officials said initially.
Yeah, that's right, Kara. You know, the investigation hasn't stopped, and now new details have come to light. And, you know, I came out here on Tuesday, so less than 24 hours after the home exploded, and we did an interview with Plano Fire Rescue, basically in the exact spot that I'm standing right now. And at that time, fire officials said that they didn't believe that any crime had occurred. They said the probable cause was most likely an isolated gas leak. But then yesterday, in a statement, the city of Plano said that after police detectives and fire marshals began a joint investigation into the cause of Monday's explosion, it was determined the explosion may have been intentional. Now, the blast completely leveled one home and sent debris flying across the neighborhood, damaging several homes nearby. 6 total people were injured, and this is a picture of the Jagielski family of 5. They live next door to the collapsed home. The 3 children escaped with minor cuts, thankfully, but their parents, they are still being treated at hospitals with serious injuries. Now, this morning, we're hearing from Scott J. Becker, an attorney for the McCatherine law firm. He represents the 6th victim, the man who was inside the home when it exploded. Becker identifies his client as Joseph Kupfer, and we asked Becker about the latest investigative findings.
It seems remarkable to me that in the span of less than 24 hours, they can go from an accidental gas leak to it may have been intentional. I don't know what other information they are privy to in the course of this rapid investigation.
Now, the attorney tells us that he is focused on the well-being of his client, who he confirms is now in the ICU. Meanwhile, we've been talking to residents in this neighborhood, and they're a mix of shocked and skeptical about this latest development. We'll, of course, continue to stay on this story moving forward, but what you need to know right now is that fire officials have said that there is no current danger to the rest of the community. Kara?
And that's good to hear. Thank you, Ariel. 6:35. Now, with the latest development, a lot of you have questions about this investigation, and obviously so do we. When we learn more, we'll push an alert straight to your phone, so download the app.
We are about 24 hours away from the opening ceremony of the Tokyo Olympics, and you have certainly seen a lot of negative headlines about these upcoming games. Here's another one for you, this one regarding that opening ceremony itself. Tokyo officials say the creative director of that ceremony has been dismissed for joking about the Holocaust at a comedy show back in 1998. Now, we don't know how or whether this will affect the ceremony coming up tomorrow, but there is some positive news to share, as we've learned who Team USA's flag bearer will be during that ceremony. WNBA legend Sue Bird. Also, Miami Marlins baseball player Eddie Alvarez, as Team USA says they are the first duo to share that honor. Also, looking ahead a few years to the 2032 Summer Games, they are set for Brisbane, Australia. The city beating out nobody because there were no rival bids, because I think you'd be crazy to submit a bid for the games with how expensive they become. That's just my opinion. The next Summer Games will be held in Paris in 2024, and they are headed here to the States. Los Angeles will host in 2028.
Interesting, right? It seems like it's lost its cachet a bit.
It's so expensive for cities.
Yeah. The Cowboys hold their first practice today at training camp in California.
So Jerry Jones offered some insight into the state of the team and his feelings heading into a new season. Chris Sadeghi live outside AT&T Stadium in Arlington. Chris, we saw some emotion out of Jerry. Greg and I kind of taken aback earlier.
Yeah, it was kind of odd to see. You know, appropriately enough, the sun coming up over AT&T Stadium here, the sun rising on a new season. Fans are excited. We usually see Jerry Jones bustling with optimism, but yeah, when he took the podium for the State of the Team address, he was a little bit emotional. His voice was cracking as he talked to the media. He was talking about how much he missed being at training camp last year, bringing his team to California, having the fans there to welcome them, so he's happy to be back. The team's first practice is today, and then Saturday they have the opening ceremony that's really a pep rally of sorts for the fans and team. But interestingly enough, Jones did get choked up when asked about his old pal Jimmy Johnson. The Cowboys' first preseason contest is the Hall of Fame game on August 5th, and Johnson, who coached Dallas to 2 Super Bowl victories, is being inducted. We're so nostalgic for those days, Cowboys fans are, despite the bitter breakup between Jones and Johnson. Jerry Jones apparently also nostalgic and also maybe even a little bit regretful.
My role here was my job to keep it together. It was my job. It should have had deference to something that was working good. So those are the things that come to my mind. We had a great run of it. He's a great coach, and I'm proud to have him as a friend and proud to have had the times that we had. We just had a great experience.
How many more Super Bowls could they have won? We will never know, but he also seemed open, really for the first time, indicating a willingness to eventually put Jimmy Johnson into the Cowboys' Ring of Honor. He also talked about the vaccination situation in the NFL, both he and head coach Mike McCarthy. Right now, the Cowboys have not reached the 85% threshold that would relax the team's COVID protocols per the NFL's rules. They expressed optimism they'll eventually get there, but right now only 13 of the 32 NFL teams have met that vaccination threshold. Mark and Kara, back to you.
All right, thanks for that, Chris. Greg and I, like I mentioned, we were discussing earlier, surprising to see Jerry Jones tear up when he's talking about Jimmy Johnson. I would more expect him to tear up when he thinks about how long it's been since the Cowboys have won a Super Bowl.
Ooh, now that, we might cry about that.
Yeah.
That might bring a few tears.
I thought Chris was going to break out into the sun will come out tomorrow, perhaps.
Yeah, he was excited about that sunrise.
He really was.
Yeah, and it is a nice sunrise out there, so get excited about that. Those temperatures not too hot, at least not yet anyway, but that's going to be changing too over the next few days as we take you on out. You can see over at Dallas Baptist University looking nice, 74 degrees. We'll have the mostly clear skies, a little hazy out there perhaps for you here this morning, but still not too bad with the comfortable temperatures and the dew points out there for you this morning. So if you're getting out to walk the dog between 7 and 9 o'clock, not going to have any issues at all if you're trying to get that exercise in before heading off to work. Now, it still warms up today, but not terribly hot. We're looking at the lower 90s, that normal high 96. So we'll be a few degrees, it looks like, below that as we head into this afternoon. And once we factor in that humidity, it's going to feel like it's in the upper 90s perhaps later on today. So it's starting to get a little sticky out there for us as we head into the afternoon. We'll hold on to some very low-end rain chances as well. I think better chances a little farther south and west. We'll go with about a 30% coverage maybe in our far southwestern counties later today, but it will be very hit and miss, those splash and dash showers and thunderstorms across the rest of North Texas as we head into this afternoon. Rain chances all but drying up as we get into the weekend. Temperatures start to climb, so we'll talk more about it coming up. But now over to Deshara, checking on traffic.
All right, Greg, thank you. We're going to start off with that incident in Tarrant. For those of you in Tarrant County, maybe headed up toward Denton County this morning, 35W northbound right at 170. You got at least 2 lanes blocked out there. You see that vehicle obviously turned in the opposite direction. Okay, well, I'll tweet it out so you can see what's going on. No big deal. You can take Beach Street, of course, as one option to help you get around that incident. 377, maybe go through Keller, then get back over to 35W northbound. But traffic is backed up several miles. You're going to need an extra 15, 20 minutes or so to get where you're going. 35E northbound at Victory. That one's still working. Traffic backed up into downtown Dallas this morning. Hahn Freeway on the westbound side. This is on a service road right at Loop 12. You got one issue not causing major delays, but certainly something to be mindful of. Other than that, this one's still working. Westbound side of I-30 right at Jim Miller Road. It was in the HOV lane. So again, if you're coming into town from Rockwall County and you have to go through Dallas, just make sure that you give yourself some extra time, because that one's certainly starting to cause some issues out there as well. Traffic backed up past Loop 12 at this point. Back over to you guys.
Well, do you have big travel plans? I know a lot of folks have already had their travel plans. Who's willing to splurge on vacations more, men or women? I gotta guess. Find out next and right on the money.
We are saying good morning to Garland and all of North Texas, as this morning we're talking about the Big 12 Conference, the potential changes coming its way. Sources say Texas and Oklahoma ready to tell the conference they are Audi 5000. How do you feel about it? So far, 32% of you say you're on board. The rest of you, 68%, say no, thank you.
Okay, join in on the conversation. Use the hashtag #IamUp. So here's one tweet this morning. Let's see where they stand. Tatanisha, it's time for a change. Shake it up a bit. Hook 'em. Ooh, Craig, what do you think about that?
Tatanisha, if you can't beat TCU, how are you going to beat Alabama? 6:45 time for your health check, and we are switching it up a bit this morning. We know a lot of you have some questions surrounding the variants of COVID, the vaccines as well. Sonia Azad is live on Facebook right now, speaking with Dr. Mark Casanova from Baylor Scott & White, answering some of your questions. They're going to be on Facebook Live until 7:15 this morning, so you have plenty of time to jump in and ask some questions once our show is over. Turning our attention now to our weather, Greg Fields. Look, I'm gonna enjoy low 90s as long as I can.
Okay, so enjoy it today.
Yeah.
And maybe, just maybe tomorrow, but we are going to start to heat up as we head into the weekend, as we've been talking about, especially looking over Fort Worth here early this morning, though. 72 degrees. It's comfortable out there for you with those dew points still down in the low mid 60s. So it hadn't gotten sticky, not real sticky, at least not yet. A little hazy out there for you here this morning. So we'll have to deal with that. It is another ozone action day. So keep that in mind as the air quality could become unhealthy a little bit later today. Now, as we get into the afternoon today, we can't rule out that isolated shower or thunderstorm dotting portions of North Texas, but coverage going to be limited, I think, as we head toward midday. I think we'll begin to see those clouds puffing up once again, and maybe a few showers and thunderstorms developing, but better chances a little farther south and west as that disturbance that's been responsible for the rain and storms the past few days, the isolated to scattered activity, will settle in over West Texas and start to move away a little bit more. So that's going to take our rain chances away. Those will be evaporating, and we'll turn our attention to the temperatures that will start to heat up in the days to come. Lower 90s, though, we're headed for today, so it's not going to be a bad day at all for us with the temperatures still a bit below average, but that heat is going to begin to build. In fact, as we look at the month of July so far, every day with the exception of July 1st, we've been below normal, but that is about to change. Yesterday, we only got up to 92, probably only in the low 90s today. So we'll add to that a little bit. But as we look at the temperature trend over the next few days, getting into the early part of next week, we'll get above normal with those upper 90s heading into Saturday and Sunday. And here comes the triple digits. If we don't get there on Sunday, we likely will as we get into the first part of next week. And that may be the first of a string of triple digit days coming our way as we head on into next week. All right, let's get one more check on traffic now. Here's Tashara.
All right, Greg, thank you. You guys, that problem over in Tarrant up to Denton County still working. 35W northbound right at 170. At least one lane blocked on the left-hand side. Let me show you this before it clears out here on my screen. Again, 35W on the northbound side right at 170. You see that left lane blocked there. Traffic is backed up quite a few miles. Beach Street is one option that you can take to get around this one. Other than that, you can take 377 and work your way through Keller, then hop back onto 35. We got a couple other issues still working. This one actually just cleared out, so that's some good news for the folks on northbound 35E trying to get through downtown Dallas. There was an incident right at Victory Avenue. Don't forget about this one still working on the service road westbound side right of Hahn Freeway right at Loop 12. That one isn't causing major delays out there. This one also still working westbound 30 right at Jim Miller in the HOV lane. That one has traffic backed up a mile or so. Traffic is backed up again past Loop 12. I would recommend, of course, just giving yourself an extra 10-15 minutes, especially if you're coming into town from Rockwall County. That problem that we had up past Addison right at Dallas Parkway on the service road, that one has cleared out. No other major delays to tell you about. Again, up in Denton County, if you're trying to get down into Fort Worth, you're not going to have any issues. Same thing with Collin County getting down into Dallas. Back over to you guys.
Thanks for the heads up, Tashara. So new this morning, our locally based airlines just reported their second quarter earnings. Southwest posted a net income of $348 million after a loss of more than $900 million a year ago. So what a difference a year makes. Americans' net profit only $19 million, but still a profit. Of course, with passengers returning in droves, it should only get better for them.
So if you've been trying to buy a new home, we don't have to tell you that it has been a frustrating time lately. A lot of folks seeing sold signs going up on homes that just hit the market a couple of days ago.
Yeah, so we're starting to see a slowdown. Maybe. Fingers crossed. Jason Wheeler talks about the bidding wars and who's splurging on a vacation in today's Right on the Money.
Well, my vacation officially came to an end today, and that's actually not a terrible thing. I mean, admittedly, I could have kept on living that life for a long time, but you've got to pay for it all, right? And this summer, it's the guys who have been willing to pay more. Twice as many men as women are willing to go way bigger on the vacation budget this year. And among those who are splurging, the overwhelming reason they give for it is because of their experiences with the COVID pandemic. Mine was just to get away and try to feel like a human being again. I saw a lot of houses, by the way, that I liked while I was away, but the typical pad in Hawaii, it turns out, is more than twice what the median home costs here. That's why we just visit. That said, we are again at a record price, another one for the standard house in DFW. But maybe the heat of competition is cooling just a bit this summer. At last check, the number of Redfin offers that were in bidding wars was down month over month. Still, though, the number is high. 7 out of 10 offers have competition. That and the fact that we still only have about 1/6 of the number of homes needed for a healthy real estate market means that if you're waiting for a drop in prices, you may need some patience. I will keep you updated on this at Jason Wheeler TV on Facebook and Twitter. Your home to live right on the money.
Boy, that really surprised me about the men going bigger for the vacations.
Cha-ching.
As long as someone does, right? The pandemic has taken a toll on different industries, and that includes education. And Dallas ISD looking for about 300 teachers, and they're hoping to fill some of those positions at a hiring fair today. So the event starts at 4 o'clock this afternoon at Skyline High School. They'll be filling positions at schools around the district. They ask that you pre-register on the district's website, but it's not mandatory. If you have teaching skills, they're looking for you. The district even offering some bonuses.
So for example, like our bilingual certified teachers, they receive a signing incentive of $4,000. For our secondary math, science, and our special education unit teachers, they will receive a signing incentive of $3,000. We even have some career and technology signing incentives.
That's pretty amazing. Fort Worth ISD hosting a similar job fair next Tuesday. It seems like a lot of spots open, Mark.
Yeah, the First Lady, by the way, ready to lead the way for the United States at the Olympics. What is on her agenda? That's coming up. .654, here are some of the top stories we are following right now. First Lady Jill Biden has arrived in Tokyo, where she's set to lead the U.S. delegation at the Olympic Games, attending tomorrow's opening ceremony and meeting virtually with the team. First things first, today she is dining with the Prime Minister and his wife. Meanwhile, the Biden administration now making $3 billion in grants available to communities, part of the COVID-19 relief bill. You can apply through the Commerce Department starting today. The aim is to create jobs and help struggling cities make some long-term investments. And 2 Texas Democrats who returned to Austin after fleeing to D.C. say they plan to start meetings today about that voting bill. One came home specifically to attack that issue. Another had an illness in the family, decided to stick around and get some work done.
All right, that one issue still working for drivers in Tarrant County, maybe headed up toward Denton this morning. 35W northbound has at least one lane blocked right at 170. Beach Street is an option, 377 take you through Keller, another option for you, Greg.
All right, sun coming up over North Texas now as we take you out to a Fair Park. You can see the sun off to the left there coming up. 77 degrees at Fair Park right now. We'll have those low mid-70s, still even a few upper 60s, so not a bad looking morning. Air quality alert is in effect today, so those ozone levels could become unhealthy. Otherwise, highs in the low 90s, maybe a little hit and miss shower and thunderstorm this afternoon.
So it's Throwback Thursday, and we've had Ariel Placencia choosing our Throwback Thursday music. Her last song, September, one of my faves by Earth, Wind and Fire. She says her dad was driving and he controlled the radio. That meant no Radio Disney, and it was all 70s music all the time. So I feel like we could do a little.
And isn't that our profile birthday month as well?
Yes.
You're September, right?
Yeah.
Virgos.
By the way, I had a discussion with my sister the other day about, is the driver the captain of the car controlling the radio?
And
I say yes.
Yes.
Oh wait, what does your sister say?
No.
What? Sis, let's talk. Let's talk.
That's when you put your iPods in and you just,
Okay.
disconnect. GMA is next.